I had the absolute pleasure of living in Paris for a year, and Benoit was one of those restaurants which I was returning to quite often. Run by ALAIN DUCASSE since 2005, it's a true Parisian bistro with a 1 Michelin Star. The interior is beautifully classic, and it's an absolute joy sitting here and just watching the waiters running around the 2 different floors. Let's take a look at the menu, shall we? Since my last visit here 10 years ago, it's with happy eyes I see that not much has actually changed on the menu, and I think that's exactly how it should be on a Parisian bistro. You should know the menu, and if you go into a restaurant you should expect to see the classics being there year after year. As always in this restaurant, before you're given the first plate of food, you are presented with a few warm gauchers, and the variation that they have here is particularly good because they have quite a large amount of black pepper in the pâte choux mixture, bringing a nice heat to the warm delights here, and it's just a fantastic way of starting your meal. For a starter I went with their famous house-made pâté en croûte, and this one is filled with different cuts of pork, and you have black trumpets, pistachios and a very generous amount of foie gras. First thing that strikes me on this dish is the color spectrum on that terrine. It's just so beautiful to see the different spots there of the green pistachios, the totally black trumpets, and then the different cuts of meats that is spread around like a marble stone. Really beautiful. And then on the side you have a few different pickled vegetables with green cream, just bringing some acidity into the dish. Now, I've had this dish many times before and it never fails. It is so nice and delicate to eat, and the saltiness here is just spot on. You have, that terrine that is covered by the bread layer that brings some texture to the dish, and everything is just so balanced and nice to eat. And then when you think that it's getting a little bit too much, you just add one of those pickled vegetables and all of a sudden you have a really good balance in your mouth. This is not an easy dish to manage. It's actually quite complicated to put in the effort and making a terrine this good as they are making here, and I would argue that Benoit is probably one of the best places in Paris to taste this type of dish. Next up was the bread serving, and it consisted of a traditional baguette and a sourdough levain type of a loaf, and even though I would have wanted a little bit more color on the baguette, it was really good. And I don't know if you have noticed that while you've been in Paris, but there's something about Parisian baguettes. They're just better. They're so chewy and nice in the texture, and I don't know, is it the water that they have there that they're using? But it is something. It's just really nice and enjoyable to eat it. For the main course it was an easy choice for me. I went with the sauté gourmand, the iconic dish of this restaurant, which is basically a casserole made up with some veal sweetbreads, comb and kidneys out of cockerel, foie gras, truffle jus, pasta, and you also will find bits and pieces of pork in here. It looks to be a pretty simple recipe, but the key here is to use really high quality ingredients, and that is exactly what they have done here, and also that you get that sauce with truffle and veal jus inside to get that on the right level of umphiness, but also some acidity, because there is quite a lot of fat in this dish, so you need something to light it up a bit. Digging into the flavor profile here and starting just with the foie gras there lying on the top, it has a beautiful texture and is definitely made of a fresh liver and not a frozen one. And then you have a very generous amount there of the veal sweetbread scattered around in smaller pieces. The ham is bringing another texture and a little bit of saltiness, and then you have the comb and kidneys there from the cockerel, bringing a little bit of another flavor into this dish, and everything is just brought together by that pasta and the really nice sauce. I have never seen a dish like this in any other restaurant, and that's why it's very iconic for Benoit to have it on the menu, and I'm very happy that they haven't taken that off. It's a really special eat, and I recommend each and every one of you, if you are going to this restaurant, to order this plate of food. It's truly unique and it's really nice to eat.
L'armagnac, this one vanilla flavor inside, and this one caramelized spicy. With vanilla cream chantilly.
For dessert, yet another classic, and here we have the Armagnac Savarin, and Armagnac is a type of a French brandy, and Savarin is very close to brioche, but it's normally molded into a round shape and sliced into pieces, and then as brioche, when you have that as a rombaba, you dip that into a sugar syrup that is often flavored with some kind of a spirit, and in this case, of course, it is Armagnac. Tableside, more Armagnac is poured onto the Savarin, and that brings a really, stiff type of flavor into the very sweet cake. And on the side, a really nice vanilla whipped cream that is so light and smooth in its texture. The flavors here are truly delightful, and if you had a rum baba before, this is very similar in its taste and appearance, but I would say that Armagnac is bringing a little bit more punch to the cake than what a rum-based spirit would do. This is absolutely not a dessert for kids, but for grown-ups who really like also to have a strong spirit to finish off their meal. It is truly delightful, and it's really nice way to finish off your meal. It is heavy dough. To finish off our meal here, we had some nice coffee, a warm Madeleine cake, some chocolate, and a shortbread biscuit. So what did I think then about my visit here to Benoit in Paris? Well, I think that this is a true institution of a Parisian bistro, and I think that the food especially here is made in a very qualitative manner using the best ingredients that you can probably find for the dishes that they are using. Is this a 1 Michelin Star restaurant though? Well, according to the Michelin guide, it is. But I would say that the food rating here for me is just below that, and I'm gonna put the scoring here at 86 points. When it comes to the service, it's been friendly and attentive, but I have to say that I've been missing a little bit of a personal touch throughout my lunch here, and it has been a little bit difficult sometimes to get the attention from the service staff team. So therefore I'm gonna put the scoring here on the service at 84. Luckily coming to the ambience part of the scoring here, and this is one of the nicest places to sit in Paris and just enjoy life. The atmosphere is so genuine, and it really feels that you are stepping back in time for a while and sitting here and just watching people and seeing the service staff team working around the lunch. It is a really nice feeling to be sitting here. From the chairs to the tables to every tool that the service staff team is using to serve us is just really nice and authentic. So therefore I'm gonna put the ambience scoring here at 94. And with that said, that brings end from this episode in Paris from Restaurant Benoit, and if you have liked to see this review and this type of content, please don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and I really hope to see you in future reviews. Thank you very much. See you next time.